The race for the Democratic presidential nomination to take on Donald Trump in the upcoming presidential elections has begun today with the Iowa caucuses. But where do the candidates stand on Israel? Joining us now is a founder and president of the Jerusalem Washington Center, Gideon Israel. So you have the details for us, but first, give us a quick rundown on how the primaries work. I know that's a big question.
Well, unlike the Republican primaries where you have winner take all, in the Democrat primaries you have, as long as you score a certain percentage of the vote above a certain percentage, then you get delegates. So therefore the winner of Iowa and the winner of New Hampshire, if they've only won by a little bit, everybody's sort of getting the same amount of delegates, as opposed to the winner of a Republican primary, you take a lot of momentum into the next state.
All right, so tell us a little bit about the top runners here and what their stances are on Israel.
Well, the ground on the Israel issue for the Democrat Party has really shifted a lot in the last 10 to 15 years. Just a few examples which are reflected in the Democrat Party platform. Jerusalem was Jerusalem was considered the united capital of Israel for 40 years, from 1972. It suddenly was not in the platform in 2012. And even though the DNC chair, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, tried to do language gymnastics to explain why it wasn't there, it was out. The idea of calling Israel either having a special relationship or it being an ally was in the platform since 1976, and in 2012 it already wasn't in there. The idea of having an unshakable commitment to Israel, which was in the platform in 2012, suddenly was out in 2016. And now, in 2020, the issue of the United States aid to Israel, which in the conscience of many is considered a defining metric of the relationship, is being questioned.
Who is most likely to be the presidential nominee, in your opinion?
Oh, that's very difficult.
Top three.
Well, the top three, it seems, Bernie Sanders, Michael Bloomberg, and then Joe Biden, Elizabeth Warren. The reason we won't have a picture of who will be the front runner until another month is because Michael Bloomberg has invested all his money in Super Tuesday, and unlike other candidates who skipped the first primaries, he's invested already $200 million, and he has an unlimited amount of money. So therefore, even though he might not have the momentum, his ads are in front of the voters every day, internet, TV, newspaper, what have you. And now, out of those front runners, Michael Bloomberg is the most classic Democrat on Israel, classic 1990s, 2000 Democrat, views Israel as an important ally, doesn't need to dictate to Israel what the solution to the peace process needs to be. But it's important to note that even Michael Bloomberg doesn't mention anything about Israel on his website. This would be unthinkable 10 years ago. In fact, of the 24 candidates, only 3 mentioned something about Israel on their website.
Who are those 3?
You had Beto O'Rourke, Kamala Harris, and John Delaney, who was at 0%. And John Delaney was the only one who actually talked about Israel in depth and its importance. The others was sort of a neutral outlook on Israel. So,
keeping things close to the vest, how they actually
it was kind of like we supported two-state solution, human rights, and whatever. But it wasn't like Israel is our closest ally. That was only John Delaney, and he dropped out of the race. He was polling at 0% for the past 6 months. So Israel is it's almost like a non-issue for the Democrat Party. It's an issue that it's only going to be negative for them. And that's for a lot of reasons. One of them is that the Jewish voting bloc is inconsequential in most of the states for the Democrat Party. Most of the places where there are lots of Jews, New Jersey and New York, are solid blue states. The only places where there are lots of Jews and you have swing states is Florida and Pennsylvania.
So you're really basically saying this is all about the numbers at the end of the day, because right now they're going to focus on the topics that are most relevant to the voters that they need to get.
Or appeal to the widest base.
You've also had what's called the justice movement, which has really developed over the past 10 to 15 years, and you see all these activists kind of like ambushing the candidates on the trail, saying, well, if Israel does this, will you commit not to to giving them aid? Will you commit to doing whatever? So Israel, this justice movement, which views kind of like the Palestinians as the underdogs, and therefore they're morally right, that's been gaining ground, and that's why in the age group of 18 to 49 among Democrats, you have more of them that favor the Palestinians than Israel.
All right. Well, we didn't even touch on Bernie Sanders, but that is for our segment with you next week.
We'll get to Bernie next time.
Yes, we will. All right. Thanks for joining us.
Okay.